Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome to Russ Can Fly. My IFR written is scheduled. I'm nervous, but what's my strategy? Let's go. Okay, so welcome to my amazing inside studio, aka the dining room. But yeah, so yes, as you heard at the beginning of the title and you can see in the thumbnail, my IFR written exam has been scheduled and I am very, very nervous, but we're gonna figure this out. But I wanted to come on and tell you what my strategy is. Be quiet, phone. But at any rate, yeah, so my IFR written exam is scheduled for April 26th. I believe that's a Friday. And you know, you'll probably see another video where I drive to the exam place, and because it's actually going to be the same exam place that I took my private pilot written exam. And so yeah, we're gonna go through that whole exercise, gonna take you with me to the exam, all of that kind of stuff. So Friday, April 26th. So yeah, just the act of scheduling another written exam has made this all real, and it's made these feelings kind of bubble up again. And one of the things I will say to everybody, yes, it is nerve-wracking, so give yourself some grace. If you're nervous or you're worried about being a test, you're not a great test taker. I am not either. I get really nervous around this stuff. I start kind of suffering from almost like this imposter syndrome type of thing. Like, who do I think I am to, be taking this exam? The one thing that is really crazy too is, at least when I did my private, although I failed the written the first time, and I talk all about that, and you'll see a link to a video in the comments to this one that talks about what I did wrong and why I probably failed and why I think I was successful the second time. And that's the strategy I'm implementing here. But the one thing I will say is I did have a flight instructor that was helping me navigate the written exam. I don't have an instructor this time. I've decided as a strategy to basically do the ground school, get the written exam out of the way, and then once I do that, then engage in the actual flight portions of the instrument, rating and the training. So what's my strategy? Well, it's in two parts, and I wanted to just kind of do that really quickly in this rare Wednesday upload. And hopefully, it'll help somebody. I know there's so many different ways you can navigate this written exam landscape. And for some of you, written tests and all that kind of stuff, not a big deal. But if you're a person like me and you get nervous, don't worry about it. You're gonna be okay. But I just wanted to share my strategy. Okay, so the first thing that I did was, and you can see, I engaged the process of trying to understand these basic concepts by using Sporty's Ground School. The reason why I did Sporty's first is because they do have videos, and one of the things that helps me is I'm a very visual learner, or really I learn concepts through experience. I learn the easiest when I'm so I call myself really an experiential learner. That's at the top. But if I can't experience the actual, thing that I'm trying to learn, the next best thing for me is being able to see something visually. So now, none of these people are, none of these companies are sponsoring me. This is just Russ Can Fly, just doing my own thing. But Sporty's, the thing I like is they do have those videos and they break it down by concept. The other thing that I really like is they provide a lot of visuals. So for instance, when they talk about things like, a PAPI or a VASI, or, looking at an approach plate or a departure plate, they actually show the plate and then they talk about the plan view, the profile view, what you're looking at. Because remember, if you are a private pilot and you're just engaging a lot of this information, it's like starting from scratch. It's a whole new list of acronyms. concepts, even the sectional looks completely different. And so for me to have those visuals where people are going through the various concepts, pointing them out, and also, talking about them, that has helped me tremendously. So I went through all of the videos. And then the thing that I also like about Sporties is that at the end of each video, depending on what concept they're dealing with, they will have like a little short quiz to try to cement those concepts in your head. And you can always, go back to those things. And that's the other thing I like about Sporties. You can see I like Sporties. As I'm going through these concepts, I can always go back to a video. So for instance, lenticular clouds or upslope fog or things like that, rotors, things of that nature. I can go back to the weather section and go right to those videos where they talk about that type of turbulence or cloud development, or anything like that. And the one thing that I got is a question is it's talking about Virga, and I couldn't remember for the life of me what that was all about. And just by the way, Virga is basically moisture that is falling down. It's like rain, but it never hits the ground because it evaporates before it gets to down here, and we don't need any more down here because it has rained quite a lot. But yeah, Sporties is really helpful that way for the visual learner, and I've really enjoyed the things that it's been able to provide to me. The last thing that I'll talk about with Sporties, and the reason why I'm implementing this strategy, is remember what I said at the beginning. I don't have a flight instructor. And so when I did my private pilot's license written exam, I was able to get my write-off from my flight instructor to take the exam or the certification. The thing with Sporties is once you're done with the course and you get 2 test grades, practice exams, like full practice exams, and they're above 80%, then Sporties gives you the flight exam endorsement. And so I have my endorsement certificate now. And even though I don't have a flight instructor, I can use that endorsement to take with me when I go and take the written exam at the end of April. So that's why I employed this strategy to use Sporties first. First, to introduce the basic concepts. 2, to help me with, how I learn as a visual learner. And 3, receiving an endorsement to go take the exam, even though I do not have a flight instructor as of yet. So that was the first part of my strategy. That strategy actually has worked. I do have my endorsement. Once I have the endorsement, then I scheduled the exam. And so now it's real. So here's the second part of my strategy. Now, a lot of people have talked about Shepherd Air. And again, they're not sponsoring this or anything like that. But so many people talked about Shepherd Air that I thought I would engage that particular learning platform and test preparation as well. So many people down in the comments raved about it. So I have engaged Shepherd Air, and this is what I'm beginning to do. Here's my first impression of Shepherd Air. First, they've got a very interesting study strategy that I find fascinating because it was really working. I mean, there are some concepts that, even though I've done Sporties and I've gotten the 280%, it wasn't cemented in the way that I wanted it to be. Like flying a magnetic heading and making the turn and what's going to happen depending on how you're flying. Those questions will not trip me up. I know that because I know that And a lot of that has come out of this study strategy that Shepherd Air employs. And I can't tell you why it works. Only thing I can tell you that it's working. And it's really based on they have various question banks, and you go through the banks, you see the answers, then you go through, you don't see the answers, and then you can kind of go back and review, and you do it by section. And I gotta tell you, this is really working. I'm beginning to feel confident about understanding some concepts. Now, the only things that I'm still kind of struggling, and I'm hoping that I can kind of get there in the next couple weeks, is the VOR check between two VORs, and whether or not it's 4 degrees or 6 degrees versus if you're up in the air or on the ground. That's still eluding me a little bit, only because it's a little nuanced. If it's 2 VORs, it just seems to be 4 degrees. But there seems to be times when you're up in the air and you're doing a VOR check, 6 degrees is the right answer. So there's that. And then some of this HSI stuff is still a little tricky. But I will say that, you know, I'm just starting to like really engage Shepherd Air. And I gotta tell you, I understand what people are saying. It is a fantastic tool for sure. So that's pretty much it in terms of my strategy. I am now engaging Shepherd Air. I'm going through their study strategy. I think it's either a 4 or 5 part study strategy that they have. And I gotta say, whoever developed this is brilliant, because it really does help to break it down. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this Wednesday, these rare Wednesday uploads, but I did want to explain that yes, it's time. I'm about to, you know, I am going to be taking my IFR written exam this month, and I'm very excited. But I wanted to, you know, come on here and in my own way, and I know there's folks that, you know, have a much more polished way of presenting this stuff, but in my own way, I wanted to come on here to kind of explain how I am processing through this particular exam, especially given the fact that I have not started flight training yet. And I believe that this is going to be successful. And, you know, on the back end, the last thing I'll say is I wanted to do this because I just felt so overwhelmed when I was trying to do both my written and learn how to fly the airplane. So I really just wanted to focus on concepts. There are some that I know that are going to become easier to understand once I start flight training. But what I don't want to do is get into the flight training and be trying to study for this written. That just felt too much when I was getting my private pilot's license. So I figured I would do it a little bit different. Who knows how this goes, but this is the strategy I'm employing. So if you have any questions, you know, shoot a comment down below. Here's the thing I'm going to say. There is some extremely exciting developments coming to the Russ Can Fly journey. And I'm not going to say anything here, but I have kind of given a peek into that world in my members only. And the reason I'm just trying to keep that inner circle small. But if you are curious about these huge developments, go on over to the members only section and check out a few of those videos, and you'll see there's some amazing things that are happening right now as we speak. And I gotta tell you, man, prayers, you know, prayers are answered. You're gonna see some pretty amazing stuff coming real soon. So that's it. Russ Can Fly. I really thank you for all of the support, you know, and the kindness and the encouragement. It is greatly appreciated. All right, take care. Russ Can Fly. I'm out. Peace.